I'm in the covenant, sir. My name is Covenant Sir, and I'm a storyteller. To me, Calabar is more than just a city. Calabar is home. Calabar has always been a city of color, but within its vibrant streets, there is an untold narrative: the women. This documentary is an ode to them.
My name is Josephine Inika, and I am the co-founder of NKE Africa, a social literary startup. I am from Yakol, Cross River State. I grew up in Calabar, Cross River State. I'm a firstborn daughter, so that means at an early age, I had to learn what it was like to be responsible, to get things done. Think about it as becoming the project manager of my family. And so it makes a lot of sense that I ended up as a founder of a startup. Growing up in Calabar is, or rather was, quiet. It was quiet, but then it had these moments where there were just random things that would happen that would make you realize, wait, your quiet town holds a lot more than everybody else thinks. And those little things turned me into a storyteller, because Calabar has a lot of history, a lot of rich history, places, the people, the food, the dances, the events, the things that have happened before, the things that have happened now, the things that have stopped happening. Even just taking a stroll down Calabar, you could just see something like an old building, and you look at the name of the building and you immediately want to know more. Why is this place called this place? But yeah, growing up in Calabar turned me into a storyteller, because we didn't have a lot to work with, but what we had was so special. So I said, you know what, hey, I'm going to become a writer. So I was the only child for quite a while, and that meant I had to entertain myself a lot, which meant I had to, the easiest thing to read were books. I was reading books I should not have been reading at that age. I was reading books I should not have been reading at that age. I was reading anything I could lay my hands on: dictionaries, novels. We had this book at home called Where There Is No Doctor. My mother was a nurse, or is a nurse. I was reading my daddy's engineering textbooks. I was reading anything and everything: big novels, small novels, those smaller novels that are like 100 and 200 naira, so that the language was just terrible. There was no serious point where I said, I want to get into writing. It felt like I was just born into it and just kept running with it. But when I said, I need to build something for writers, I think 2022 or 2021, I'm not sure, I'm going to say 2021. So I was trying to get into, at that point I was trying to figure out my career. So I was doing a bunch of things. I'd done UI UX, I'd gone into coding, I'd done social media management, and at that point in time I was trying my hand at product management. So I remember attending a product management class and then coming back and then writing in my notes app that I want to build something for a products for writers and readers. I just wrote it, I forgot it. And then 2022, one of my co-founders, Ayo, reaches out to me, texts me, I think on Instagram. I still have a screenshot of the text message. Text me on Instagram, oh hey, I'm building so and so. I heard you're a writer, do you want to join? And I said yes. And I didn't even remember that I said I was going to build this product. After I said yes, and then I was looking at my notes one day and I saw the message. I said, you know what, okay, this is proof that I'm actually making the right decision. Even though some days I think when the stress is too much, I'm like, who sent me? Am I really sure that is what I really want to do? But yeah, most days I'm sure, actually. I like what I'm building. It's really as simple as that. A lot of things I do them because I like them. If I like something, I'm very likely to just stay and see it through. I like what I'm building. I like what NKE could be. I like where it currently is. I like what it can do for me as a person. I like what it can do for writers and readers. NKE has a chance to do something not even special, but just something good and practical. It has a chance to be a place where you come in as a writer, as a reader, as an editor, heck, even as a graphic designer who designs, or a designer or creative who makes book covers. It has a chance to really be something, and I would be doing myself and everybody else who has supported us this far a disservice by giving up. NKE Africa is a social literary startup. We combine social elements like messaging with publishing elements like uploading articles, essays, stories, and we put it all in one application, which means we also get to add tech things like your streaks, classes, methods for you to earn money from your stories, and more, really. If you want to know more, sign up on NKE Africa. Self-promo. Yes, that's what we do. We are really, it's a simple thing. For us, by us, you know? You come into society quickly learning that it's very skewed against you. And you're now faced with multiple options that are not so great. So you're taking what you have and making it enough. Growing up in Calabar, I would say what I experienced is not very overt misogyny, but covert and very benevolent misogyny. Nobody's outrightly telling you, oh, you can't do this. Or in my own experience, they're not actually telling you you can't do this, but they're not quite supporting you in the things you want to do. So you know for a fact that you're on your own. So, and sometimes I wonder, would it have been better if somebody had told me, oh, you can't do this and stopped me rather than not supporting me and feeling like, oh, you have to work twice as hard to get a fraction of the notice. And then you have so many eyes on you, it feels like you can't make a mistake. So, or making a mistake in public feels like the end of the world. But as somebody who has made mistakes in public, it's not the end of the world. You make that mistake and you will find a way to correct your error and keep it moving. Nobody who has done anything worthy will tell you that, oh, they have never made a mistake. If anything, those mistakes, the fact that people are counting you out, the fact that people are not quite supporting you, but also not really telling you to just go somewhere, the character building I've gotten from society is what has given me enough audacity to attempt to continue building what I'm building. Because at the risk of sounding very flippant, something I've discovered is, who's going to beat me? Nobody's going to beat me. I mean, they can decide to not support me, but as long as they're not physically stopping me from doing what I have to do, I will just simply keep going. It really is what it is. I don't care about legacy, I just want flange, mama. Ugly. I don't really, funny enough, people ask me that I don't really care about legacy, man. I just want to do my work and go home. I don't think so much about legacy. I think more about the work in front of me and how to keep making it better. Legacy will do what it wants to do. Because I could do so much, but then somebody with a different storyteller would say a different thing and then the legacy is gone. I just want to do, I'm more focused on what is in front of me. Step by step in front. Future will handle itself, the same way past has gone. I want people to look at me. I want you to look at me and be inspired by my own audacity. Carry that audacity and go and do more than me. That's all. The small wins are in the big money. The big money. I want to build something I'm proud of. That's all. That's really what success means to me. So I want to build something I'm proud of. I want to build something practical and I want to build something good. I want to build something useful. And I would like it to also make money as well. A little bit of money is nice, you know. It's the reason why we can do this. Everything. There's no rule, whether it is from government to the economy to arts to culture to politics to everything. There's really no aspect of Calabar's growth that women will not be inside. I mean, that question is a no-brainer at this point. You know how people say men dey, women dey. Being a woman of Calabar it means something. I don't know what it means in words, but I can tell you the feeling. It feels like I am carrying a lot of history on my shoulder, but it's not heavy. It's not heavy. It just feels like wearing like a really nice necklace. It feels like wearing like a really nice necklace. But at the same time, I'm so aware of the fact that what the other women that have come before me have done, and the path that they have paved for me. And it often feels like a lot of gratitude and a lot of fun, because Calabar women are fun, to be very honest, and in a good way. It feels like a lot of fun, it feels like a lot of gratitude, it feels like you are simply exactly who you think you are, and nobody can tell you anything different. And if they tell you anything different, you close your ear. You don't hear anything, you keep going. That's what it means for me. I mean, it's a feeling more than anything else.
My life started dramatically. So my mom had me somewhere in State Housing Lane in the house because my dad had gone to pick up the other people from school. So he came back and there was me. So yeah. So my name is Nasegbe Utibima Ekle. Let's be easy. I was born in Calabar and I spent all my life here in Calabar, schools and everything. And I am a baking barista. I know now that everybody thinks a barista is a lawyer, yeah, but no, that's barista. So barista is basically a coffee person, a coffee maker. So that's who I am. I grew up in a very, very loving family. I was the last born, so I was sheltered, and then I had a lot of hand-me-downs. So I always wanted something that was my own. So I always just wanted to do my own thing. I come from a long line of bakers. My grandmom was a baker. I remember one time my grandmom was supplying chin-chin to a fast food, and I entered there with her, and it felt like someone hugged me. There was nobody, but it just felt so nice and warm, and I think that's what the memory I wanted to always create, feel like, okay, I'm here now, everything is at peace, and also that's what I know sparked my interest, knowing that I had a long line of bakers also to live up to their expectations. So I became my mom's assistant. My mom was making wedding cake. In fact, she'll make the whole wedding happen. So she'd do the decoration, she'd do the wedding dress, the dresses for the little bride and flower girls, and then she'd make the wedding cake. And then when I got into university, I said, okay, so what business could I do for pocket money? So I started asking and trying to find out who was dating who was interested in who, and then I tell the person, okay, I'll just send this girl a cake, sometimes just do it anonymous, I'll tell you the reaction and all that, or I'll use it to check her for you, so that was basically my pathway into the business. Back in Sugar and Spice, I always had customers that would just come to talk. It was like I was running a therapy place without knowing. So I always had all the issues about relationships. That was the highest of them all. It was always, this girl is messing up, but I can't go because she did this. And so I just became like a venting station. So I think that has helped because people need people to talk to. It's not a very pretty journey. So in 2019, I had a stroke, and nobody could understand why, because my blood pressure was good, everything was going on dandy, and then I just told my mom, okay, so this is how I feel. I told the person around me, this is how I feel. I don't know why, but then it ended, so I'm like, okay, everything is fine. And then my mom sent someone to my house and says, okay, take this girl to the hospital. And I'm like, no, everything is okay. And so I went to the hospital and I was like, okay, you guys do what you have to do and let me go home. I mean, it's 12 midnight, you guys can't keep me here, it's what's taking time. And so they took my blood pressure, and then the nurse called the doctor and she was shaking, and I'm like, hey, what's all the drama about? So my blood pressure was 256 over 187 or so. And so they were like, okay, so prepare the purple room. And I'm like, what's happening? What's all the drama? And then I got in there and passed out. So that was the first stroke. And so I came out of it. That one was the first one, so it was so nice and dandy. Like I healed, I learned, you do all your therapy and all, and I came out of it. So I went on dandily. I went to culinary school. I think that my body was angry with me because I went to Lagos, and I was like, okay, I'm going to relocate finally. Second stroke, yeah, and this one was like the kind of thing that I know that I'm on this side of eternity just because it's God's hobby. Because I seriously don't know why I'm still here, because that one was everything. So there was paralysis, there was everything, sepsis, but I came out of that surprisingly. Many of the doctors can't explain how, but I came out of that into trouble. So when I had gotten my feet a bit, I went to Sugar and Spice, and I was in shock because most of the things I had stayed in the hospital and heard that, oh, they finished, please send me money. They were right there. Next thing, tax came in, and they were like, okay, so this is what you owe. And I'm like, no, I was paying from the hospital. I was paying, and I'm like, no. And it came to about 2 point something million, and the levy was 1.6. So if you add all that together, I was like, okay. So I called the accountant, and I'm like, how is it that I was paying all this? And then he said, oh, that no, he paid some, but he didn't pay all. And up till today, as I'm speaking to you, he's still paying me. So many ugly stories. So I looked at my health. I was just coming out of hospital. My landlord was already asking me for rent. Rent was supposed to be done in December. So I was just like, you know what, let's just back the whole thing up. And so when I said that, I tried to sell off, but there were some things that I just couldn't sell. Like I was too attached to them. There was my oven. It was so precious to me because I know how much I worked hard for that oven. It was a 3-deck oven, like it was high class. And so I couldn't sell it. So my hospital is the building beside, yeah, for physiotherapy. And then I discovered this was empty, so I was like, okay, let me just rent it and put my stuff inside. And then I was like, will this building just stay here? I always loved plants. And then I said, you know what, I'll just do a plant shop. And so that was how Roots started. And then when I was here, some of my friends that were customers of Sugar and Spice came and said, oh, I want to see you. So I was like, okay, just come here, because I'd finished my session. And then, so there was like a plant hut here. So they came, and there were just 4 of them, and they had an envelope, and they said, this is the money we would have spent in Sugar and Spice. We don't like that you're not doing it again, and we can't just get over it, just do something. And so they gave it to me. I was so overwhelmed because I didn't really think it meant that much to anybody. So that was how I started. I told them, I can't even remember all the recipes. Blood vessels have burst in my brain. The memory is gone. And they were like, anyhow, why? Just do. And so that's how I converted this place from a plant shop to a cafe. That was the journey. This has been I said to myself, Roots is like a fight song. Let me try and see how far I can go, how far I can push my brain and my mind and everything. So I came here, got this place. I was on a wheelchair, stayed here. I moved to a Zimmer frame, then a walking stick, and now, even though nobody thinks I can walk in my house, I can actually walk without. So it has been that kind of a healing journey, and I finally feel like, okay, I have done what my body wants me to do. So I'm happy I'm here. I feel like giving up every single day. So it's not like a special moment when something happens. There have been challenges. This in my life, this route has been on for about 1.5 years. I have had 16 staff come and go. Yeah. It's either just because I can't remember that I gave you 5,000 naira to do something, that's the end of the 5,000 naira, or because I can't remember. Okay, so brain flash comes, okay, this is the recipe, I give it to you, right? And I say, write this down. And then I can't find the paper. You know, little things like that. I think a woman of Calabar is power. Just because they have a whole lot of power in their hands. Yeah. So it's just power waiting to happen. No, but in all honesty, I think that Calabar should be the first, or Cross River should be the first state that has a woman governor. Because, in all honesty, I grew up here knowing that the women had all the power. I always see these people saying gender equality, but it doesn't matter much to me because I grew up in Calabar. Can't get more equal than this. Not to sound selfish, but I have lived many years, and in Nigeria, having a legacy is having a child, and then, you know, like training the child that this is what you're going to do, so that when you die, this child is the legacy. Yeah, I have not had a child, so I don't have a legacy so I'm living in the now. My dad left a legacy that still favors me till now, so it's a bit selfish of me not to live a legacy. So I would just do this, live in peace and love, and then anybody that comes after me will enjoy that I lived in peace and love. Yeah.
My name is Onone Obazi Akwa, and I am a cybersecurity professional with over 3 years experience in Azure Cloud Security. I grew up in that kind of setting where they had strict parents and parents who would make sure that, yes, you have to go to school, from school, go back home straight and study. So I would say that growing up in that way for me in Calabar helped to shape who I am today very much, because I was exposed to things like technology at an early age. I loved the idea of being a medical doctor, right? But I think it was a whole lot easier for me because I got exposed to more technology challenges. I just saw myself taking part in tech challenges like Technovation Girls for a Change. I'm sure ladies who are hearing this, some of you would know it, right? I took part in it when I was 10 years old, and that for me was an eye-opener. I own a cybersecurity academy, Cloud Maven Cyber Academy, and what we do there is that we help beginners in cybersecurity, also intermediate professionals, to be able to gain hands-on experience and help them become cybersecurity professionals. Currently, we have a community of over 1,000 people that we're able to get organically, and we've been able to graduate over 20 students where the alumni are landing internships home and abroad, and we have students working for companies abroad as well. Some challenges I faced as a woman in cybersecurity that is known as a male-dominated field would be probably most male not believing that I can actually do some things in cybersecurity. Because I remember when I finished from the program and I got to going out, it was only the Cyber Girls Fellowship program that I knew that there were ladies in cybersecurity. And moving forward alone without having those girls with me any longer, I saw more men in cybersecurity. And fun fact is that from statistics that I have, collecting people who are interested in learning cybersecurity, I would mostly see that out of every 100 applicants, just maybe 3 people are ladies who have applied. And I think, so one thing that I've faced is just the belief that I can actually do something in cybersecurity, have cybersecurity skills as a lady. So moments that I felt like giving up, I would just share a very short story. That was 2022 when I had just finished from Cyber Girls Fellowship program. I was done with my internship, and then I had the ultimate decision to make whether to continue the journey on my own or to give up. So I think I faced a whole lot of self-doubt for about 3 months, where I had series of cries. I cried a lot, right? But what kept me going was people around me, my cyber sisters, my friends who were doing stuff that they loved. It wasn't really cybersecurity, but they were doing these things and were passionate about it. Success for me is waking up and trying again, irrespective of what happened the previous day, months before, years before. I would say that's my definition of success. If I was anywhere else apart from Calabar, I don't think the need to really make an impact would be there. I highlighted the fact that one thing that fueled my passion for that challenging spirit in me, right, would be the fact that a lot of people don't think that tech stuff happens in Calabar. So if I was in a place like maybe Lagos or Abuja that tech stuff happened, I undoubtedly I may still flourish there. But like I said, the challenging part in me to just keep pushing, to make sure that yes, people know that there is a difference that comes out from here. There's something good that comes out from here. Then there's something that can be good tech-wise that comes out from here. Yeah, it's very important for me. And yeah, I feel that if I was anywhere else, I would be more relaxed than I am currently.
My name is Heidi Umo Hogan. I'm from Ikoruba in Akbabuyo, local government area of Cross River State. I am a chef and I'm a social development worker. I grew up in Calabar and I've always known that food is our love language in Calabar. They used to tell us that you have to cook for people you love. That's like our only way of showing people that we love them. So growing up, I lost my dad when I was 3, and my mother used food to train every single one of us. I'm the only one who went to a federal university. Everybody went to private universities. So I saw that food was actually making a living for her. The first time she was opportune to cook for the governor, and I was at that particular event, and I couldn't imagine that food will make my mother meet the governor of the state then. And from the governor, we've met the Navy, we've met the Army, the Air Force, and we've catered for literally all the arms of the military in Calabar. So I think seeing her meet dignitaries at events where she caters actually also helped me. Fun fact, everybody in my house is a chef. And I used to tell people I'm the most horrible one when it comes to cooking. If my eldest brother makes pasta for you, hey God. So yes, my family was in, is still in, because there's no time that I have a job that they don't come through for me. I was craving pasta with a then friend, as much as I don't like to talk about it. I mean, she deserves the accolades. That was in 2020. Yes, I was craving pasta, and my friend was like, you know what, I'll buy the pasta. Heidi, you cook, you're a great cook. And I was like, okay, that's fine. And I posted it on my WhatsApp. I just found a random picture off the internet, and I was like, I'm making pasta and meatballs tomorrow. It was 1,000 naira back then. And then I posted it, and 11 people responded. Somebody said, oh, I don't eat meatballs. Can I have it with chicken instead? As a sharp babe, I just quickly said, okay, pasta and meatballs, 1,000. Pasta, meatballs, and chicken, 1,500. And she said, send account number. And that's how 11 deliveries were made the next day. So that's how my online food business started. 2022, I went to culinary school where I was receiving professional training on how to be a chef. And that was one of the greatest experiences of my life. The first thing I learned in Reddish was to unlearn whatever it is I knew and relearn. So that was what made it easy peasy. I saw things that I had never dreamed of seeing. I learned how to plate, I learned new recipes, I learned about Afrofusion. And Reddish was challenging. There's something we had, and it's called Hell Kitchen. So they give you 25 minutes, everybody locked up in a kitchen. I think we're about 20 of us in the class. They lock the windows, turn off the ACs, turn off the extractors, turn off everything. And we're supposed to cook different meals. They're supposed to be ready in 25 minutes. People were baking, people were frying pepper, people were doing every single thing. And inside that heat, they expected a perfect meal. And I'm so glad that we delivered. We're split into groups of 5. Yeah, and everybody delivered. That was the first time I felt pepper in my nose, in my eyes, and I couldn't breathe. And you're not allowed to go outside to receive fresh air. And I had my contacts on that day. I think I don't know if it was graduation or there was a party. So, I was trying to be fine. I didn't do makeup, but my contacts were hurting crazy. But after the experience, I tell my staff, see, there's nothing that can make me run from the kitchen again. I've seen myself in a different light because, to be honest, cooking was not one thing I would say, okay, this is what I wanted to do. It's something that came as a result of the environment I was in. That's my mother cooking, my brother's cooking. I saw bills being paid. I saw everything on the table, like food on the table, because of cooking food. So it wasn't entirely a personal decision, like from a little age. It's something that I picked up along the line, and it's made me appreciate people's efforts and talents more, because a lot of people don't know what goes on behind the scenes. And I can only imagine how it is for other professions. But anywhere you see a chef, a food vendor, a caterer, in fact, anybody that is behind the kitchen, hug them tight, because there's a lot of heat and fire behind the scenes. It's one thing to have a vision. It's another thing to find people who align with that vision. At some point, I started to feel like I was the problem, because tell me why somebody worked for 2 months and will not work again. Am I that bad? Really? Am I that terrible? But I spoke to other business owners and I got to understand that if people don't understand and buy into your dream, it makes it actually very, very, very difficult to have like a successful event run. Staffing would make me go crazy, literally. Before I started employing anybody, I used to go to the market. I used to do my accounts by myself. I would do deliveries, like I said. I'll take taxis and I'll do deliveries. I'll post on social media. I'll cook. I'll clean, everything. So it was really frustrating. Like, why am I employing people when I can do these things by myself? And they're not now doing what I want them to do. So many times I'm like, you know what? I'm not doing it again. Like, I was telling my mom, see, I'm looking for a new line of business. Sometimes I would come to my room, turn on my shower, and cry. And then that period I'll be a motivational speaker on WhatsApp. I'll just be telling people a lot of things about life, but people won't know that I'm going through stuff. Staffing wanted to frustrate me, but thank God for God. Why didn't I give up? It's not an option, no. I mean, it's not like my family is poor, but my mother taught me from a very early age the importance of working for what is your own. So giving up was not an option. Plus, what am I going to do when I give up? Lie down? Do what? Become a social media stalker? Or I don't know what am I supposed to do. So no, giving up has never been an option. My mom says it's okay to take breaks. Take as much time as you need. Go back to your drawing board. Take a vacation. Take a holiday. Go to your brother's place. Do anything minus give up. Take a long pause, but don't give up. Now, shower should they do? She said, now food should they sell? Yes. People have this perception that I am fronting my food business, but behind, I hook up with the bigger boys. I mean, if you haven't heard your gist in Calabar, then you've not started. There's so many times I've walked in on somebody talking about me. Like it's me, I'm seated there, but the person doesn't even know me. It's just them say. They said, I had a day that I blocked over 30 Instagram accounts. I don't know if I had a way I would have shown it to you guys, of how people tell me, oh, you think we don't know what you're doing? We currently know you're in Abuja. You're pretending that you're serving. Meanwhile, you're there to see men. Like, what's going on? There was even this gist, oh, hey God, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but there was this gist that I used to wash and put in my food. And my food is not even sweet. And I found the girl who said it, who started the gist. And I asked her. And she was like, And she asked the person that told me that the person, so it's not like the person is a saint. The person also said some things. Funny enough, a Bolt driver stood up for me and was like, if it's that girl in Atimbo that sells ekbang, forget it. My babe buys food from her and her food is sweet. Like, how can you say somebody? So now we use it to make fun in the kitchen. Anytime a meal is sweet, I'll just tell my staff, which one of you has washed and put inside the food that is really nice today? And now it's now a joke, but it's crazy. Why would you say that to somebody? So growing up, I used to work with an NGO, Neighborhood Carewell Foundation, and we work with children, in fact, the girl child in particular. We work with women living with disabilities, children living with disabilities, and people living with HIV. So every year on March 9th, there's something we call Women's Mentoring Walk, where they bring like different speakers that have been excelling in their field to mentor the women. Personally, that's how I met Gracie Hedgie through one of the women mentoring walks. So on many occasions, I've been able to teach women living with disability how to fry puff-puff, how to make finger foods. And it's so beautiful that I go to Bayside, that's where my church is and that's where the NGO is. I go to Bayside and I see these women actually putting in what they have learned from me to use. And it makes me so happy and it makes me want to teach more women almost everything I know, if not everything I know. So I intend to keep Calabar's culture and preserve Calabar's culture with my native dishes like ekbang, edikaikong, abagatama, afang, and many more. Success is being able to do whatever I want to do whenever I want to do it and not having any constraints or restrictions or anything. I can just wake up and decide I want to do this and I am able to do it. I have the materials or the resources. Connections might be human connections, might be material money, might be anything. So that's success to me. Calabar is home, Calabar is love, Calabar is family. The people, the culture, it's so closely knit. It's how hospitable we are in Calabar. And I want people to know about it. I don't want the stereotype that we see outside. There's more to Calabar than what the news carries. So I want people to see that too. A woman of Calabar, somebody who loves my town, preserves my culture, and make sure that in any way that I can, I put my culture or my state on the map, globally, internationally, any way possible. Calabar women have all the inspiration they need, to be honest, because they have a lot of love to give. But I'm sure that when I achieve what I plan to achieve, somebody will look back and say, if Heidi Hogan of Calabar could do it from this small family compound, like I like to call it, then anybody else can. It might not be food. It might be anything else. It might be art. It might be music. It might be dance. It might be anything, really. Envisioning Calabar in 10 years. I really want to see the Calabar that I grew up seeing. I want to see trading. I want to see the seaports working. I want to see Calabar as clean and as green as it used to be. Women, in turn, I think women can play any role. If they decide to be the ones to paddle the canoes, to paddle the ship, to do anything, I think they are very free to do that. If they want to be the chefs on board, they are welcome. If they want to be the Minister of Environment, if they want to be anything they want to be to make Calabar great again, I support it. So I think women would play every and any available role that comes up.
My name is Erica Toby and I am an artist. I paint and also I make beaded crafts too. Yeah, I grew up from Calabar South down to Calabar Municipality, Marian, and I create art through paintings, creative exploration, using different mediums, different pieces, woods, name it, beads, name it, iron to create an art piece. And I also make beaded accessories too. Necklaces, waist beads, anklets, name it, wherever you want to adorn, I am the woman for the job. Nothing from my childhood told me I would be an artist today. Acrylic colors brought in my Rose Boy. Rose Boy happened in 2022. I guess that was when I had my first solo exhibition with now Shinobi Inks. The facial expression here of this work, like, it blew my mind because I didn't even have time to mix colors. I just told myself, okay, since I am particular with like the self-portrait had put me at a spot where I could maneuver skin tones, I was like, okay, I can do this directly, and that was how it came about. Rose Boy is like, it speaks about a guy who is always in his mind, but getting close to him tells you that he is definitely a rose in garden. Yeah, the first time I actually tried something concerning art, I got punished. Like, I think I was 7 or 6, something happened. Man, moments I feel like giving up when your ideas are bigger than your pockets. Actually, see, trust me, when your ideas are bigger than your pockets, you start asking God, abeg, how far? When are we when are we working this, or what's going on? But when it comes to bidding has a lot, because first of all, people around you will see bidding as spiritual. First of all, then if you're a lady that makes a lot of waist beads, anklets, necklaces that really, like, I've met clients that have asked me if I add any spiritual stuff to my work, and I'm like, I hold the blood of Jesus. Not giving up is the success for me. Waking up every day to tell yourself you're going back at it again is the major success. Like these days, I do not even quantify success or qualify my success as money or anything. I just feel like the fact that I am able to wake up the next morning and tell myself, you can do this, even if I cannot do it, but I am seeing myself in the field that I have created, I feel like that is success enough. Women are already winning. We will make it 10 times bigger because our voices are actually going to be heard by that time. Calabar will be much more better than the way it is with women involved. I have been around, basically I grew up around everybody here. So they taught me all the values I have right now. So being brave is one thing, and being able to, like, that is one thing I think I love about women from this town, from this state. They can speak out, they are really, really outspoken. Being a woman of Cross River State or of Calabar have taught me actually how to be brave and how to be outspoken also.
I grew up in Calabar, and I was a very shy, very inquisitive child. People who see me do what I do today do not believe that I was once a very, very shy child. I was inquisitive, I loved learning, I loved reading, I would read virtually almost anything. And my dad was a lawyer, so he would always say, go to school, take first. If you don't take first, remain in school with the gates man, don't come back home, you know. And so, you know, he was always someone that I would always see reading on the table. He would be reading heavy books, and I'm like, what is this man reading in the midnight? You wake up in the night to do anything, you see him reading, you know, on the table and everything. And so, you know, that push, you know, through observation and all of that, I grew up to be a very inquisitive child. I love to read, I love to write, you know, and all of that. And my family was very, you know, close. We're very tightly knit. You know, I grew up with a lot of love and care. You know, when you're a child, during Christmas, like now, you get Christmas clothes. You know, the shoes that come with matching hats and bags, and then those cute, very shiny boxed shoes. Yeah, so I really had a fun childhood, I would say. I was not a very big child. I was small-bodied, and so I think one of the things that I did not really enjoy about growing up was the fact that I was always picked on by other children, by other adults. You know, people call me a lot of names. I can list them for you. They've called me bonga fish before. I've had somebody, an adult, call me rubber band. And then I cannot count the number of people that told me, if breeze blows, it will carry you away. So I've always been a very small-bodied child. And, you know, listening to all those comments, it really made me very insecure about myself when I was growing up. It took a lot for me to come to that place where I could look at myself in the mirror and say, Elizabeth, you're a very beautiful girl, you're sweet. I lost my dad when I was 12. It was rather sudden. It was unexpected, unplanned. It was not anticipated at all. So when that incident happened, I didn't know. I mean, I had lost my grandmother the year before. So, I mean, I could relate to, you know, that feeling of grief, but it wasn't as deep as when I lost my dad. And that's because my dad and I were very close. I was my dad's person. We were like buddies. He would travel. He would bring me gifts, a teddy bear, toys, you know, and all of that. I was like the favorite child, even though I was the only girl. And so when that incident happened, it threw me off balance, to be honest. I think for some months, I didn't cry because I did not understand what was happening. It was as if it was a dream. I was in that dreamlike daze and state. And so I think after a while, some time passed, there's this song my dad used to love playing a lot when he would take us on drives in the car. It's this Donnie McClurkin's song, You Are Alpha and Omega. And so anytime I heard that song anywhere, I would just spontaneously burst out crying. And that's how it started for me. And so that experience and a lot of things that happened after it just led me to spiral into a very deep depression. Initially, I did not know what it was, but then the only way I would describe it is that it was as if I was always carrying this heavy burden, or as if there was like a heavy dark cloud around me, and it was something that I could always feel around me. Nobody else felt it. Nobody understood what I was feeling. Family did not understand. Nobody outside understood. There were lots of times I was labeled the party pooper. I would just literally imagine people's faces twisting whenever I would come around fun places because they're like, Elizabeth is not going to participate. She's not going to, you know, want to relax and have fun. And, you know, that was because of what I was experiencing at the time. I don't know if it was my way of trying to grieve or maybe the feeling of comfort of being stuck in that grief. But that was what happened. And so over time, you know, at some point I just had to be truthful to myself, and I think that that's the best thing anybody can be to themselves. Just be able to tell yourself the truth, because when you can tell yourself the truth, it makes a whole lot of, you know, difference. And so I just, one of those days when I was finding it, I was just on my bed. I could not stand up, I couldn't do anything. I was just there. One of those days, I just told myself, Elizabeth, what's going on now? What's going on? I had to sit down and have some like really deep talks with myself about where I was, what I was doing to myself, and how it was impacting me negatively. You know, some people would say, oh, you're feeling sad, can't you just be happy? But the thing about depression is that it's not like a switch, a light bulb that you can just on, off, on, off, on, off. But I also believe that we ourselves hold the power to pull ourselves out of any dark place that we find ourselves in. And so that incident over the years, I think that is what led to the direction that I found myself in. Okay, so my name is Elizabeth Ita. I'm the founder and executive director of Stilt Mental Health Initiative. So Stilt Mental Health Initiative, also known as Stilt NG, is a mental health nonprofit with the vision to see the improved mental health and well-being of young Nigerians aged 13 to 30 through mental health education, peer support, and advocacy. Mental health, some years ago, was a subject that was sort of a taboo. A lot of people didn't want to talk about it, didn't want to even hear the phrase mental health. And it's really sad because mental health is not a bad thing. It's a good thing. You know, there's mental health and there's mental illnesses. And just as, you know, we have physical health, we also have physical illnesses, things like malaria, typhoid, you know. So, I mean, every human being should aspire to be in a state of good physical and mental health. So it was really funny when it happened, when it was happening. And so I spoke to a friend back then, two friends back then. Efa, I spoke to Efa Owai about it at first, and he said, "Oh, that's a very wonderful idea, Elizabeth. You can do it." And I said, "Yes, I can do it." And so he asked me, "Do you have a name for it?" And I said, "No, I don't have a name. I haven't gone that far to think about a name." And he said, "What about the word stilt?" And if you know Efa is somebody that, you know, he likes to tinker with words a lot. And so he said stilt. I said, stilt. That was a word I hadn't heard before. And then I now checked in the dictionary and I saw that it means a set of pillars that hold something so that it's high above the ground or high above water. And it completely encapsulated everything that I was trying to do, to be a support so people can, you know, stand, keep their heads above water and all of that. And so stilt. And so after that day, I met with Efa, stilt. And I spoke with another friend of mine, Kamilani, and then the three of us met and we planned our first support group meeting. There was a flyer ready. We started reaching out to people. We started sharing the flyers. Oh my God. Somebody told me, "This thing that you are doing, is it not for mad people?" And I sat down and I was like, is it not for mad people? How? I started feeling bad about it because I was like, this is something that I'm trying to, like, this is something, you know, that I'm drawing from my experiences. And I'm trying to do so that other people can, you know, feel better, find a safe space where they can connect with other people, you know, find the support that they need and all of that. Somebody was asking me, is this thing not for mad people? It really struck a chord that day, and I started feeling bad about what I was even doing in the first place. And so a lot of things happened. Only 12 people signed up. Only 12. And out of that 12, that day, I had made puff puff. I had printed things, decorated this. I had paid for the venue. And then I now came, and then it was just me, Efa, Nkami, and Princess Paul. Princess Paul was our ever first member to attend anything physically. She came, and then I was very sad, but we had the meeting, we finished, I shared the puff puff, we all went. You know, while we were going, I just told Efa and Kami, I'm not sure I want to do this thing again. Because of the negative feedback that I got when I put it out initially. And so they said, no, you have to push, you have to continue. And so that just left me in a state of, you know, thinking, how can I pivot? What can I do with the 12 people that signed up? And so that day when I went home, I packed all of them into a WhatsApp group. And then I told them, you people signed up for this thing. This is what we're going to be doing from now on. And so from that moment onwards, what we did was we would have trainings, like mental health trainings of some sort, every Friday. I think we had it consistently for over a year, every Friday. So we would come, okay, this week we're going to be talking about this. I'll now go and do research, come and present. We're going to be talking about this. I'll come and present. And then, you know, a lot of people started joining the group, and then we grew to 300. People started continue joining. And then, you know, I mean, I'm grateful for where we are. Really grateful for where we are. You know, we were online for a while until I just thought to myself, we're online, we're a lot, and we're still online. We can do something to have more, you know, on ground, in-person interactions with, you know, with people. And so that's when, you know, we started doing more physical, in-person things. When I went for my NYSC, a senior friend and mentor of mine, Mr. Edet Ipeyo, who is also on our board of trustees, introduced me to an organization called Nigerian Mental Health. And so after that initial meeting with Nigerian Mental Health, because the meeting was so that STILT can be registered as a member of the coalition. So it's like a coalition of mental health NGOs across Nigeria. And so after that meeting, after we spoke, I told him about what we do. I told him, I really love what you're doing. I would want to volunteer with Nigerian Mental Health to just get more experience in the mental health space. And he said, okay, great, 1 month probation, start. I started. After 1 month, I was offered a job. And so I started working with Nigerian Mental Health right out of my service year. And it has been a very interesting journey. I'm proud to share one of my greatest achievements working with Nigerian mental health, which would be co-authoring 2 policy briefs, one on mainstreaming mental health in elections and one on decriminalizing attempted suicide in Nigeria. One of the things I'm grateful for Nigerian mental health is the fact that it has exposed me to loving policy work, loving data and how it informs policies and systemic change, regarding, a certain thing, but in this case regarding mental health. Through my work with Nigerian mental health also, I was in the committee that put together the suicide prevention bill, which was presented to the Attorney General. The major obstacle, though it has never been an obstacle to anything, that it is that we've tried to do over the years, but I think that one major challenge that we've had over time is funding, because outreaches are not cheap, projects are not cheap, nothing is cheap anymore. And so, we need money to keep things going. When volunteers come out, to do things, you need to give them transport. Okay, take this for refreshments. You need to print things, banners, flyers, brochures. You need money to do all of that. You need money to, sometimes, one of the things that me personally, in my heart, I would like to do is for our projects, like Children's Mental Health Week, just print volunteers, print t-shirts, give to volunteers. Enjoy yourself, wear it proudly like a flag. Be proud of yourself, But, without funding, things like that cannot happen. And so, one major challenge has been funding. We would really appreciate support for mental health projects in Nigeria. There have been some, from external funders, maybe international donors. But right now, the funding for mental health in Nigeria is abysmal. Funding, let's say the total health budget is 5% of the total budget. Funding for mental health is like 1% of that. 99% of that 1% goes to funding federal neuropsychiatric hospitals, maybe state psychiatric hospitals, and the 1% is, only God knows what happens with the 1%. So it's a lot. So there's no funding that goes for projects like what it is that we're trying to do, or that goes to organizations that are trying to do one thing or the other in the mental health space. All of that is going towards federal neuropsychiatric hospitals. And so organizations like STILT have to rely on external donors or funders for our projects. And it's not all the time that you get that. And so many times we find that, to fund the projects, I funded projects with my salary, like one month's full salary, funded projects with it. It's a sacrifice that I love to make because I see the impact that, the work makes on people, how it makes people happy, that they're able to share, open up, or that they're able to be involved in the work that we're doing, and all of that. And so I'm very excited to see all the work that we've accomplished over the years. To be honest, there are a few lessons I've learned, one of which is that sometimes growth does not appear the way that you expect it to be, and that even if you don't notice it, even if you don't think you are growing. As long as you're taking little incremental steps, you are. And so I'm proud of what we've accomplished over the past 5 years. I know that there's a lot more that we can do. I believe that whatever is worth doing well. And until we get to that place, that permanent site, which is not a permanent site anyways, because once you achieve your goal, the right thing to do is to aspire for a greater, goal and all of that. Over time, having conversations with people, I've heard things like, STILT. I think almost everybody knows somebody that has had some contact or interaction with STILT. And I would always say that one of the things I'm grateful for on this journey has been the people that I work with. I don't know why, but many times when I speak in certain places about the work that I do, people ask me, how do you grow a team? How do you build people that work with you? And all of that. Sometimes I sit down and ask myself, these people that are around me, where did they come from? What are they doing? Because when we started, all of us were in Calabar, and then we were doing really amazing work together. And then we're doing really amazing work together. And then after a while, one person says, oh, I'm done with school, I'm going back home. You would expect that, oh, because this person is going back home, that's finished now. But then you'd find out that you hear something like, I'm going back home. I am going to go and start stilt in Lagos. When I get to Port Harcourt, I am going to go and start stilt in Port Harcourt. And that is how stilt grew. And I sort of feel like if there was something we were not doing right, you know, I'm not sure that, you know, it would have grown to the extent that it has grown to. I'm not sure that we would have had the reach that we have right now. And there has to be something about it. I can't really place my finger on it, but there has to be something about the work that we do, or the way that we do the work that we do, you know, that gives people that love and that zeal to say, oh, I'm going here, I'm going back home, I'm relocating, and I'm taking stilt with me. I'm actually very giddy with joy. I was very excited when I learned that we were going to host outreaches in Cameroon and in Sierra Leone next year. And I'm also very excited that we're covering, I jokingly tell my team members that very soon we will host outreaches in all the 36 states in Nigeria. But I'm very excited that we've covered half, at least, which is incredible, very, very incredible, with little to no resources, with a very large pool of people. It's very incredible to see, you know, how much the work that we're doing has grown. I'm very excited to see how much more it will grow. Yes. A legacy in the long term would be being able to replicate myself in the lives of other young girls in Calabar and even outside Calabar, to let them know what is possible, to let them, you know that they can push in spite of the impossibilities, and that they can do more and be more. In as much as my family didn't really understand what I was doing, I'm grateful for the fact that they supported me either way. I would always say that my mom is my biggest cheerleader. Even though, you know, a lot of the times when I tell my story, I, tend to talk more about my dad than my mom. But my mom is 100% my strongest supporter. I would have friends whose parents would not allow them stay out, go out, engage with other, young people, volunteer, But my mom is somebody that would always encourage me to do the things that I need to do. If my mom, let's say this hangouts that we're having now, my mom is the one cooking. She's the one cooking, and she would say things like, oh, I wish I had more. I would do more, for your still suit, because they've been very, very supportive. She's like a mother to everybody, and that's one thing I'm grateful for. I'm also very grateful for my siblings. I have 2 younger brothers, and in one way or the other, you always find them somewhere doing one thing or the other. My aunt's very, very supportive. Everybody's proud of me and how far, I've come on this journey. And that's one thing that I am going to be forever grateful for. Being a woman of Calabar has influenced my work greatly. I've always known, growing up here, I always know people in Calabar to be very hospitable people that care about other people, are very open and welcoming to visitors, very soft people that like, that soft, good life. And so growing up with that mindset that you always have to be nice, be kind, to other people and all of that, I think that it did greatly influence my work in, trying to create safe spaces where people feel loved and valued. And so Calabar is home for me. My family is here. Everybody I love is here. Well, some people I love are far away. But almost everybody, or the majority of the people that I love, are in Calabar. And so it has always been home for me. So wherever I travel to, I always find myself coming back home to be with family. It's a place that has greatly shaped me, influenced me, influenced my upbringing and all of that. And so I think that I would always be grateful to be in this place and in this space that I find myself. Being a woman of Calabar means being kind, being hospitable. It also means being resilient. And I say resilient because people usually say that if you do something and it works in Calabar, it can work anywhere else. And so that's it for me.
My name is Tarayogo Ekondo. My name is Tarayogo Ekondo Henshaw, and I am an Efok traditional marriage presenter, what we call here an Ofiorindo. I am a lawyer. I am a raising artist. I am a storyteller. I am the pain in your Isaisa. And I am a lot of things, but those are the ones that puts or gives me urgent 2K. Although now we've graduated from urgent 2K to urgent 5K. I grew up in Calabar, but in different communities in Calabar. It was rough. Not that I noticed that it was rough as a child, I was having fun. But now growing up, I'm realizing that, wow, okay, Tara, you grew up in the jungle, but you survived. Because a lot of my mates that I grew up with, some of them are dead. If we were 10 girls, I think maybe 3 of us are still very much alive and we are thriving. The rest, the community took up with them. I mean, it's a very rough community. I practically grew up in my village, and I am currently still in my village. I've always been a child that loved enjoyment. Where there is party, I am there. Where there is India, I am there. So if I hear that ekomo, if I start hearing Inyemi moeke kade, my body, spirit, and soul is no longer in the house, right? My mom was so attuned to that every time she hears that, Tara, go no, don't edit because give me 1 second and I am there. Like with my diapers, I am there. Like I won't even go to maybe the canopy where strangers are. I'm going inside the house, that parlor where the negotiation is happening, where that mouth window is going to keep the drinks, and then I don't know how I used to know who the chairman is, but I just know that the person that everybody is deferring to, it looks like he's in the middle and his table is more special. I'm going there. But one thing that stood out for me was that whilst I was seated on that table, I've always admired the Ofirindos when they were coming there because the whole negotiation was happening there. Oh my God, I saw the women, the way they carried themselves, the way they dressed, the way young girls were just following them, the way they commanded, they exuded elegance and a sense of community pride. Oh my God. And unconsciously, I was listening to them and what they were doing, and it was just there in my head. So much that whenever I came back home, I would come and recite word for word what they were saying, what they were doing to my mom. Mommy, no matter what on them. And that's how I did without learning. And that's just how. And I started going for marriage, and they kept doing the same thing, maybe with little variants, and that's how I learned it. And then my auntie started getting married, my older sister got married, so it was easy for me to transition into carrying Nico. And then from carrying Nico, I started having girls that are now carrying my own Nico. So yes. It's fun fact about it that I learned Efok as an adult. But people would never believe it. I used to speak flawless English. But I felt like something was missing, right? I grew up around Jack and the Beanstalk kind of stories, Cinderella kind of stories, fairy godmothers, strawberry. I could not relate. So you see, those kind of stories, I couldn't relate with it. And I didn't want the next generation to have to go through what I was going through. Because if you tell stories that children can relate with, you never can know the creative horizon you're expanding for them. Like, I understood life so much better when I write poems, even in English. It's so much better. So, I mean, just having to undergo all of these challenges growing up, Jack and the Beanstalk, fairy godmother. Are you serious? when we have other things in African folklores, in Efik folklores to start with, who does not know Akata growing up? Who does not know Nkoriko and the rest? But we know all about McDonald's and Kiniko. We were never born there, no, but we know. But we cannot tell our own stories in our language in a way that it would resonate to generations to come. And then if somebody wakes up today and say, my name is Ekeng, and you're telling me to explain the meaning of Ekeng to you, when it has gone extinct like dinosaurs, because Victoria does not want to be Victoria, Maite does not want to be Maite anymore, Ayowan doesn't want to be Ayowan anymore, she wants to be Sunshine. So she keeps being Sunshine to the 200 generation later, when one of her descendants decides to be Ayowan and they ask her what's the meaning of Ayowan, she doesn't know, because it has been lost in translation. So, I mean, all of these things, they bothered me so much. And no matter how well I spoke English, it would always be second choice. I cannot have expert opinion on somebody's language, just like you cannot be more Catholic than the Pope. But man, thinking for me, I will pay the nisme authoritatively. And you cannot come and say, Tarase for Tangdedo is nonsense, because are you an Efok person? Tell me, are you from Efok? So no. It's the authenticity, the fact that at no point in time would anybody come and tell me that I am an imposter. You can't say that. So it's that feeling of home. It's that feeling of this is my own, this is my thing. I am always saying that I crawled so that this particular generation can fly. Because how else can you explain the influx of young persons who are now having interest in their culture, in their heritage? There was a time when I was the lone voice in the valley and the desert of Facebook, flaunting effort. To the point that sometimes, in fact, it's recently that people knew I'm a young person. By the time my picture started coming up online, people were like, is this the Tara that's in? You mean Tara? She's not 50 years, she's not 70 years. And then the people that knew me, they just thought I was just a lot. That's maybe some ancestral body or a child that is stunted. You know, I'm an old woman trapped in the body of a young person and what have you. But I took it personal. I took it so personal that there is nobody that will come within 2 meters of me that it will not be infected by my love and passion for my culture. So you see, there's been a cultural shift in this generation, and I'm happy for every young person that embraces their culture right now. I might not have affected them directly or spoken to them, but somehow I believe that my loud appreciation for the culture and the fact that I do it unashamedly, unabashedly, has given them the strength to do the same and express themselves, because people express themselves differently. I'm more of the Mkpogoti side. So you can express yours the way you want to, but as long as you're expressing yourself authentically in your true African way of wanting to, without being ashamed, without being shy, without feeling inferior to it, you're doing good. So I can always tell myself, Mkpogoti, you're doing well. Spirituality is spirituality. Time to play ekpe, we'll play ekpe. Time to go to church, we go to church. So my spirituality does not have anything to do, although some people cannot differentiate their culture from their spirituality. But thankfully, that's not a Presbyterian church problem. So when it's time to go to Presbyterian church, you go to Presbyterian church. I'm Thanksgiving for a successful ekpe outing. So there is no confusion in that at all. See, there is a photo book a friend and I came together to compile. He takes really nice pictures of landmarks in Calabar, and I interpret these landmarks into story formats. All the time we wait for other people to tell us our stories, when we can easily do that for ourselves with the little resources that we have. So that's a project I'm really, really excited for, to keep a time capsule of Cross River State in my time. Even when I'm not there, it would always speak for me. Whenever I hear the question of what role do I see women playing in Calabar, I don't know if I can relate because I have grown up around women. Women have had the most impact in my life. I have never really seen a demure woman in Calabar. Calabar women are, I wouldn't say strong, no, but they are firm and they exude authority without doing too much. So I don't really, over time, I have seen women play a lot of role. In fact, I think in the next 10 years, with the likes of me, with the likes of the women that I roll with, it's going to be even much better. It would be, they would come into their own because no, I did not wait to be accepted by the older women. They had to. I yanked the flowers from them. It's gonna be. I'm looking forward to the future. Actually, I am looking forward to the future for Efok women. Being an Efok woman or being a Calabar woman. Oh my God! It's the best thing that has happened to me. See, I hit the lottery when it came to genetic combination, gene pool, premium gene. So much that you don't have to come from an influential immediate family. The collective achievements of Efok women will rub off on you. Where I am now, where I am heading to, has been made possible for me as a woman because there has been other women who have shown me that it is possible to dream and be better than even what or who they have become. So right from the very first of Yorindo that caught my attention with her editum and her Bogotsi. She would never have known that 3 years old Tara was falling in love with her. But she created an impression in me. And that impression is who you are seeing now today. And thankfully for me, I come from a tribe that women do not even have to wonder what their place is in the society. I have been a woman all my life. I do not know how to be anybody else.
My name is Josephine Inika.
My name is Nasegbe Utibima Ekbe.
My name is Onone Obazi Ejimot Akwa.
My name is Heidi Umo Hogan.
My name is Erica Toby.
My name is Elizabeth Kita.
My name is Tara Yore Kondo Henshaw.
I am a woman of
Calabar.
Calabar.